Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Hunter Base Podcast. What do Maverick Hunters do when they're not hunting Mavericks? They go back to the base, recharge, and shoot the shit. I'm your host of the most, Zeromaster, and back with me again is my co-host who's most verbose, Canadian Jutsu.
Another blonde man has entered the arena.
Having Blondie on last time wasn't a case of me replacing him with another blonde person.
Yeah,
we should just call this the Blonde Cast because both of us are fucking...
Is Vegeta also? I can't remember.
No, he's got brown hair.
Oh, he's a brownie.
Okay. He's a brownie. God. So,
gotcha.
So, guys, we got a lot to talk about today. A lot's happened.
Lots of gaming news. Holy crap.
Lots of gaming news. We're going to talk about the PlayStation Classic. I know I talked about it briefly with Blonde Guy Gamer, but we're going to go expand it because more information has come out. And
the PlayStation 1 is like my favorite console of all time.
Exactly. He's got a lot to say for that. We're also going to talk about BlizzCon, the stuff they revealed, and yeah, whatever went with that. And then we're going to talk about the recent, the big part of this is we're going to talk about the recent Smash Direct. I guess it's not so recent now, because it's like,
yeah, this is like 2 weeks ago, right?
This is like, I think it came out on the 1st. It's the 21st when we're recording this.
Oh gosh, we're in week 3.
We're quite a ways away from
Smashdown,
so
or whatever.
And then also we're going to talk about some new information on Final Fantasy XIV near the end as well. So let's just not delay any further. Let's just get into it. PlayStation Classic. So I already said a little bit on it, so I'm going to let Canadian Jutsu take the stage first and tell me what he thinks.
All right. For the lineup of 20 games, for the price, I'm actually okay with the price tag. I think $100 for, I guess in this case, it's 20 games of the PlayStation 1 era, is good. However, the actual game selection is what I have a problem with. Oh, first, let me get the some of the nitty-gritty stuff out of the way. I like the fact that Resident Evil Director's Cut is on there. I think that Resident Evil 2 probably would have been a better choice because it was definitely that was the system seller, not the original Resident Evil. As much as it was groundbreaking, it didn't really get the same recognition that Resident Evil 2 did. I like the fact that Super Puzzle Fighter Turbo is on there because that's a relatively rare PlayStation 1 game. And just to have a little bit of variety in their game types. Final Fantasy VII obviously should be there, even with the remake, but which is odd because of this whole remake thing. Obviously, Metal Gear, seeing Metal Gear Solid on there, great. I'm actually pretty stoked that Rainbow Six made it, though I can see why some people are like, well, why not like something like SOCOM, which was more of the thing that people really remember.
I feel like SOCOM really got its hit its popularity in the PS2, though. Like, I feel like
that's true.
If they were going to include a shooter on this, I personally would have picked Medal of Honor. Like, it just feels like that would be a better choice. Because when I think of PlayStation and shooters, Medal of Honor is the one I usually gravitate towards.
Yeah, Tekken 3 was a really good choice. Yes. Like, just to throw a fighting game in there. The original Grand Theft Auto, that one, it has me puzzled. Not to say that it wasn't popular on the PlayStation 1, but just like SOCOM, it really got its start on the PS2 rather than the PS1.
And I think that's one of the things. Like, I think they picked it because it's popular now. Because I think I've been saying that when I thought the original GTA, I thought PC game, not PlayStation game.
Yeah, actually, quite a lot of these all have PC releases.
Probably more.
Super cool to see Rayman, but as much as I understand why Crash Bandicoot is not on here, the original. I understand because we do have the Crash trilogy remake, and then obviously Spyro isn't on here because, well, he has his own trilogy that just came out as well. So it's like, oh, well, why put the people be like, oh, it's a waste because I already picked up Spyro or Crash Bandicoot. But there's something about playing them in their original design rather than the remakes that do change a fair number of things, even though they sort of keep everything relatively the same. So I see that. I mean, it's great to see Persona on there, but just like Grand Theft Auto, that Persona game specifically is only put on there because of the success of Persona 5. And it does not hold up. Where there's a lot of games on here that I would like to point out that do not hold up the test of time. Like, what was the other one? There was another one that I was like, the second one should have come out. Wild Arms. Wild Arms 1 is on here, which is, I'm ecstatic because one of my favorite my low-key RPGs of all time is on here. But why not Wild Arms 2? It is so much better than the first Wild Arms. And the first Wild Arms, if I were to ever like play it again, because I've watched people play it since then, and I've played it like a couple of times when I picked it up at Anime North a couple of years ago, and it does not hold up the way that Wild Arms 2 does. So I'm very sad that that's not Wild Arms 2.
I mean,
because that, like, I guess no one's played Wild Arms, so there is that.
It's one of those things where it's like, like one of the things that I said about the SNES Classic is, oh great, this comes to Donkey Kong Country. Kind of wish it came with Donkey Kong Country 2 because it's a better game, but I mean, I'll take what I can get, and maybe that's why they chose that one, to just have the first on there, and then that way, if people liked it enough, they'll go and buy the other ones digitally or whatever.
Yeah, but like, you know what else is missing? Like, it's cool that Ridge Racer Type 4 is here, but where's Gran Turismo?
It's all
like, where is Gran Turismo? And I mean, I'm not very much of a racing guy, but I look at that and I say, where's Gran Turismo? Because that was a big thing on the PlayStation 1.
It's all licensing. They have to relicense the cars. That's the biggest problem.
Okay.
That's why that's not on there. Of course, that would make the most sense to put Gran Turismo on there, but it probably would have brought the price of the thing up.
Yeah. Like, and I didn't really play Intelligent Cube. I don't see why it's there.
Because
like,
it's
not saying it's a bad game.
Super rare PlayStation game. That's why it's on there.
Oh gosh. You know how many rare games are on the PlayStation 1 now? Like, where's my Chocobo Dungeon 2? Like, those types of games that had puzzle elements to it, but also were unique. Because a lot of this just feels like half of it's like mainstream games that are really easy that you can get digitally now.
Yeah, but if they're going to put a Square game on there, they're going to put Final Fantasy VII. Like, no doubt about it. Like,
oh, I know.
That's probably what it came down to. Square's like, you can have one game, and they're like Final Fantasy VII.
But see, that's the thing, is like, I would rather prefer either 8 or 9 to be on there, because 7, you can get 7 on your toaster. Yeah, your refrigerator that has AI built into it, so it knows when your milk's low. It can play Final Fantasy VII.
I know, but like when people think PlayStation and Final Fantasy, it's usually like a good chunk of it's usually toward 7. Yeah, as much as I don't like that. Because I find Final Fantasy VII to be a little too much now, because we see it almost every year now. Yeah. It's getting re-released on something. But it's like, that one was an obvious one. I get why they picked that one.
Yeah, like, it's not that I'm not glad to see it there, it's just, as I'm looking through my Squaresoft, not my Square Enix, my Squaresoft collection on PS1, there's like Vagrant Story, all the other Final Fantasies, like with 8 and 9. There's Final Fantasy Tactics, which, you know, is freaking amazing. Like, Vagrant Story and Tactics take place in Ivalice, you know, like, these are iconic things that are still happening in like today. And like Jumping Flash, like, is that just the leftovers that they had from the PlayStation? Dude, that's like an early
PlayStation 1 game. It was one of the long box games. It's like a really prolific game.
Yeah, but I don't find it fun. I have a copy of it. It's just
you have to remember, it's not just about what we find fun. It's what is it going to get someone to buy that? Like, that's why Final Fantasy VII.
And the first thing that jumps to, I'm just saying as us as consumers, I know that it's a personal opinion, but the first thing that jumps to you is Jumping Flash when you think of PS1 games that you want to play?
Kind of. Because
think about, like, oh, here's a rare game that would benefit from this. Tomba. Or Tomba 2. How about Mega Man Legends? And Legends 2. I know that's never going to happen, but like these are games on PlayStation 1s that A, are hard to find and are those hidden gems. Like I would like, I guess maybe if there was like a PlayStation Classic plus 10 and it just had 10 other games added to it. And yeah, you're right. I think the biggest thing is licensing and stuff like that it just becomes a nightmare.
The other thing too is some of the games that we're talking about, they are available still as PlayStation Classics. I know it's going to be so weird to say this is the PlayStation Classic, but PlayStation Classics is a thing on PSN that you can get for PS3. So some of these games a lot of these games are still available on there. I think their point with this was to try to appeal to the mass market. Like, this is like the main person that I think Sony's trying to appeal to here is the person who got out of gaming 20 years ago and was like, oh, PlayStation, I remember that. And then they pick it up because it has Final Fantasy VII or Metal Gear Solid. And everything else is just a bonus.
But like, there's so many random niche titles, like Revelations Persona, where is this I have to ask this question. Is this like just a straight port or have they redone that?
It is a straight port of the North American version, which I'm happy
that's the
about.
one that has that's the one that has the whitewashing in it. Yeah.
Or don't you mean like blackwashing because they made a white guy black in that one?
Yeah. That just, oh gosh.
But like it's like, but I prefer that, and I know that a lot of people are like, well, Sony's had the same strict rules for the PS1 classics on PSN that has to be the original game in its original state. So people who like the first Persona are kind of pissed off they chose that version. And I get that. But at the same time, like, if, like, I know Persona wasn't a super popular game back then, but if you played it back in the day, you want to play it the way it originally was, or just people are friggin'...
Yeah, people are weird that.
Are stuck in their ways, and they have to do it a certain way.
I like my reverse racism.
And I guess I'm coming from a different perspective because I got into the PlayStation 1 late. Like, my first console was SNES, and then we went N64, and we didn't get a PlayStation 1, like a PS1, like the little tiny one, until like late 90s, early 2000s, around when the PS2 was coming out. So a lot of these games here I didn't grow up with because you know what my first 3 games were on the PlayStation? Rock'em Sock'em Robots Arena, Mega Man X4, and Mega Man X5. So I can't really apply my
Speaking of Mega Man, why is X4 not here?
I'm gonna assume because
is it because of the collection?
Because of the collection. That's probably why. And, I mean, people will be like, well, Mega Man X was on the SNES Classic. I'm like, yeah, but that also came out, like, a year before the X Legacy collection came out. So, and, like, the thing that I'm confused about is that why didn't they put, like, I like Super Puzzle Fighter, don't get me wrong, but they could have put Street Fighter Alpha 3 on this, or 2, or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, like, if you look at it, I think their big flagship fighter here is Tekken. Yeah. And... To have both a Street Fighter and a Tekken thing on here, I'm not too sure if it was, because it's one of those things where I guess they don't have a lot of puzzle games here, right? So that's why Super Puzzle Fighter Turbo.
And you know what? Intelligent Cube is a really good puzzle game, and this is coming from a guy who is not a big puzzle game guy. Like,
and that's the thing is like I look at it and I'm just like I understand why it's there, but it's not in the general thought of what myself remembers from the PlayStation or me and my friends group, I guess, at the time. I mean, like, where is Legend of Dragoon? Like, holy crap. That is an RPG. I mean, I guess you don't want to have too many RPGs on this because, like, things like Final Fantasy VII had 3 discs. So did Legend of Dragoon. Actually, Legend of Dragoon had 4.
I was just going to say the SNES Classic had like 4
and that's
RPGs
not Square, and that's not a Square game. Everybody thinks Legend of Dragoon is a Square game, but it's not. It's just a straight up Sony Entertainment RPG.
That one's a little
so
strange.
that's why I'm surprised it's not there.
Because there's some, like, one of the more questionable options, for example, like Cool Borders 2 is going to be on here. And it's like, first off, the only reason this is on here is because and there's no way in hell you guys are going to be able to get a Tony Hawk game on here. Even though PlayStation was really known as the Tony Hawk. Like that was
Tony Hawk 2 would have been perfect.
Yeah, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 would have been my choice, but I'm like, for obvious reasons, they can't put that on. Also, a lot of people are saying Twisted Metal 2 would have been the better choice. Though it's the same idea with Wild Arms. That's why they put, first Twisted Metal.
Yeah.
Now, the one that I'm kind of confused about is why is Rainbow Six on this? I don't remember anybody playing Rainbow Six on PlayStation.
Oh, it was big on PS1. I mean, obviously the PC always dominated when it came to Rainbow Six, but you have to understand that Rainbow Six was the equivalent to GoldenEye on the N64. That you were actually creating a proper first-person shooter that worked well.
I don't even...
And we also have to remember that because all the controllers aren't DualShock controllers, they are just regular or original classic PlayStation 1 thing, that they needed to pick games that didn't have DualShock support.
I mean, but I see, Rainbow Six is the same thing with GTA. I've never talked to a person who grew up with a PlayStation who played Rainbow Six on the PS1. They played it on the PC.
I mean, you know me, right?
Most people I talked to said they would play something like Rainbow Six on the PC back then. Until, the consoles got better and they got it on Xbox and that. But
Halo really opened the market for it.
Siphon Filter, I understand that. That game was huge on PS1. But it's just like GTA. I'm like, I don't get why Rainbow Six was chosen on here. I guess maybe it was the option.
Also, Rainbow Six on PlayStation 1 plays so much differently than the PC one. They made it for the PlayStation 1. It's like a completely different game almost. So that's why I'm not shocked that it's there. Now, obviously, they're, like you said, Siphon Filter's there, so it's not like they're kicking out Siphon Filter for Rainbow Six. But yeah, no, it's the same idea. I'm like, SOCOM feels more PlayStation 1 to me. Though I actually did have Rainbow Six on PlayStation 1, and it was a really good game back then. Now I am afraid to play it now. It's probably not like with a lot of PlayStation 1 games, going back and playing them and realizing that my taste was shit.
I think the hardest thing with this whole thing is that it's not DualShock, because I mean, somebody like me, I never experienced the PlayStation without a DualShock controller. When I got the PS1, it came with one. And I know that that's not how the original system shipped. Obviously, I had a non-DualShock controller as a second controller for a while until we got a PS2. We got a PS2 DualShock 2. And I think that's another reason why some of the list is getting limited, is because they didn't want to throw in DualShock. And it just kind of confuses me. I'm starting to think because it's USB on the front, will wired PS4 controllers work? What's the limitation here on what you can and can't do?
I'm not too sure whether they actually outwardly said that PS4 controllers will work on it. Though the system does come with 2 controllers, and none of these games require more than that. And
the funny thing too is that that's another reason people are saying why there's no DualShock, because they included 2 controllers instead of 1. If they had done a DualShock, it would have been 1 DualShock controller. But I think the other thing with that is too, they have to limit it somewhere, because once you put DualShock in there, then you've got a whole lot more games that people are going to be disappointed aren't on it.
Yeah. See, the thing is it's such a puzzling lineup of games. Because, I'm so happy that certain ones have made it, but I'm looking at them and I'm just there's a lot of quote-unquote sequels that just improve. It's sort of like if they did include Crash Bandicoot, for example, I would, as cool as it would be and nostalgic to have the original Crash Bandicoot 1, Warped would have been the most bang for your buck to stick on this. because it was the defining Crash Bandicoot of the PlayStation 1. Like, the whole trilogy is. It's the same thing with Spyro. The whole trilogy of games, and watching as they improve through Naughty Dog and Insomniac, was crazy. But they're not on here specifically because they have HD remakes out on the PlayStation 4 system.
Yeah. Also, I agree, because if I've learned anything from Caddy, is that apparently the original Crash was bullshit for saving. You'd have to get unlocks to save, or something like that.
Yeah. It would only save at certain intervals, and it's only when you did like secret areas or other things. Now they fixed that in the trilogy. But it's still always left a bad taste in anybody's mouth if you didn't get the bonuses. You know, the ones where you have to go and you see Candy. She's the only person that could like save your game. Very similar to Donkey Kong 64, actually. Not sure her name wasn't Candy though. Shit, what was her name? Oh well, it doesn't really matter at this point. But you know, it's interesting. There's a lot of the stuff that I look at and I say, I already have probably about 18 of these games already. Like, I have Oddworlds, I have Persona, I don't have Ridge Racer.
Oh, can we talk about Oddworld for a second? Because that got remastered like last year.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a big game. It's a big PlayStation game. I get why that one's on here, but like they just remastered it last year, and they also remastered Crash last year. So probably could have put something else on there if somebody wanted to get their Oddworld, or put the sequel. The sequel, it hasn't been remastered.
Yeah. See, the thing about Oddworld. The thing about it's Abe's Exodus. But the thing about Oddworld is, even though it did get a remaster, I don't think a lot of people bought the remaster. Because it never really was a popular series. Like, I remember seeing, like, this is the thing, is a lot of people remember seeing the Oddworld Odyssey, like, promotional art in magazines and other things like that, but they never actually played the game or ever actually owned it. Because I remember vividly article after article of advertisement after advertisement for Abe's Oddworld, but it really was that. It was just the marketing. I didn't play Oddworld until much later on, until they released that first-person shooter one with the cowboy dude on the Xbox.
Oh, Munch's Odyssey, yeah.
Yeah, that's the first one that I played out of the series, and then I went back and I played Oddworld, the first one. But I have the second one, but I haven't played the second one yet.
Here's the thing with me. I've only played the Game Boy Oddworld, because that's the one we
Oh, that's fine. This is one of those things that happened. But like, that's the thing, is like, think back to your childhood. Remember how much Abe Odyssey marketing that you saw.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's true. They marketed the fuck out of that game.
They did. And I don't remember a friend ever having it, but I remember so much of the marketing. So that's the reason why I see it there, is it was pushed so much during the marketing, and it is a game that most likely people are like, yeah, I always saw that, but I never actually played it or picked it up. So then they go in and they play it this way. And, you know, Destruction Derby,
I was going to say,
I don't have a lot to say about it.
Great segue to SCR's new video. Destruction Derby, while I like it, it doesn't need to be here. They could have,
need to be here, yeah.
We have 3 car games now on this, and to be honest, like, Twisted Metal will give that Destruction fix better than Destruction Derby.
Yeah, like, also, where the frick is Wipeout?
Yeah.
That's a big one. That's the one that kind of ticks me off. Is like, if you're gonna pick a racer on the PS1, why is Wipeout not here? That's probably what Destruction Derby should have been. It should have been Wipeout.
Well,
but you know, like, this is. I'm sure that they put a giant focus group together, and they put a bunch of these titles in front of people, and then the people of the focus group, who are probably people in their 40s or their 60s, said, I don't know, that one's got a cool box art. As well as everything, and then they just sort of packaged it. I am very, very apprehensive of actually buying this.
The thing to remember too is that, you know, with a NES and a SNES Classic, with those systems, a lot of the games they put in were like first party ones, and there were some third party ones, but a lot of first party ones. A lot of people don't think first party PlayStation games when they think of the PlayStation. They usually think of the third party stuff. That's why we're not seeing, you know, Tomb Raider, Crash, and shit like that, because like
but that's why I'm saying Legend of Dragoon should be here.
It should be,
because they have some.
But like it's the same thing. That's why you have some games in here that a lot more games that are third party than first party stuff. And honestly, like in terms of the game selection, most of it's fine with what I want.
Yeah,
most of the stuff that we've mentioned back and forth, I actually already own digitally on PS3. So a lot of the stuff that we had mentioned that we'd want to see, I already have. So I'm not too upset.
Yeah, but you could say the same thing about this list. Like that, like you look at that, and like most of those are on the PlayStation Classic. Honestly, on either Vita or PS3.
The main one for me is the Resident Evil DualShock, the Resident Evil Director's Cut, because it's not the DualShock edition. The one that's on PSN is the DualShock edition, and the reason they have it up there is for legal reasons. So I don't know whatever Capcom worked out to make the Director's Cut happen on this, all the better for it, but
because this is the one that has the proper colored, it's not the black and white opening, it's like an extended colored version of the opening.
Also, on top of that, they didn't change the music in it. You know, that infamous basement theme from the DualShock version. That sounds like fart horns. And I recently found out the whole reason they had to change the music for the DualShock version is because the composer didn't actually compose the music. Like he was the composer for Resident Evil and Resident Evil 2, and he didn't compose the music. So, whoops.
So remember, children, stealing is wrong.
But yeah, I guess they worked out whatever legal issue it was. Capcom's been getting good at that. That's how we got Legends and Legends 2 on the PlayStation Store. So whatever they worked out, they found some loophole or something to fix their legal problems. It's always with audio too. It seems to be all these things are held up for some audio they can't modify.
Oh because licensing and agreements, like there's a reason why games nowadays have like 8 producers on it, because that's an executive producer is exactly that, is to make sure that all those types of legal things are properly processed so the thing can come out. So that's the thing, is this feels like PlayStation and Sony didn't take the time to actually, you know, find the proper library. They just found what they could license quickly and effectively that still had a little sense of that nostalgia mixed in to sort of cash in on the PlayStation, the Nintendo and Super Nintendo Classic.
Maybe you're right in that case, but also, again, a lot of the things that people associate with the PlayStation, they can't put on this thing. You can't have Crash, you can't have Spyro, you can't have Tomb Raider, because those are licensing nightmares now. So shit like that, like I don't think it's too unrealistic to think that shit like that wouldn't be on there. Of course,
like think of it this way:
I would swap some of these games out for other ones. Like again, Cool Borders, Destruction Derby. Much as I like those games, there are better games they could have put on. But anyway, sorry, did I interrupt you?
No.
Sorry, I thought you were...
I was listening to you.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was just the thing about Tomb Raider. Tomb Raider was published by Eidos, which then got sucked into Square. Like much later on, but still. So if they were able to work out Final Fantasy VII, but Square will just like I said, they'll hand Final Fantasy VII to anything that can move that's electronic. So it feels kind of odd that they couldn't just be like, hey, Tomb Raider 1, is it like, can we work something out here? Because it was a big influential system seller.
I think that this might be a stretch, but I think the reason with that one is because Microsoft. Because they have some exclusivity thing with them. And Microsoft could have stepped in and said, no, you can't have Tomb Raider on the PlayStation Classic, because then they'd say, no, we're going to close our clause. That goes against our clause for the exclusivity.
Just watch that it was some stupid executive that's never played a video game in his life, and it's like, sorry, we can't have Tomb Raider because that's too recent. Because he's talking about the remake. He thinks that they want to put the remake on this thing.
Yeah. But is there anything else you want to say about the list? Because there is something else I want to talk about with the PlayStation Classic.
Not really. Like I said, there's a couple of things where it kind of sucks that the second iteration, or, I mean, I was going to say, man, wouldn't it be great to have Ape Escape? But then I realized that would require the DualShock controllers. And I think that's the biggest problem. It's not the list. It's the fact that they decided to go super classic and not include the DualShock, because a lot of really good games on the PlayStation, ones that everybody remembers, use DualShock.
I think one thing that's interesting, though, about this is that it's come out that they're using a modified version of EPSXE for this.
Oh, really?
Which, as we know, is an open source emulator. But I think we don't know if they're going to do it the same way Nintendo did it, where they're adjusting the settings for each game. It kind of seems that's what they're doing, because they're trying to make the games run the same way they did on the PlayStation, warts and all. So if a game had slowdown in a section, they're keeping that in, kind of like how the NES and SNES Classic did it. So it leads me to believe that they're probably doing the same thing Nintendo did, where they made special settings for each game. However, unlike with the PlayStation, NES and SNES Classic, I'm more interested in the modding seat on this one, because if they're using an open source emulator, especially one that's very well understood, that's going to open up the modding opportunities on this. And then probably we'll be able to add in DualShock support and use like wired PS3 and PS4 controllers or something like that. I foresee that happening, because I foresee like most people who are going to pick this up are either going to be people who are just like, yeah, I'm okay with that game list, or modders who want to see what makes it tick. Like, that's the big two markets I think that are going to touch this, and collectors who just don't care. And
yeah, I can't in good conscience pick up this system right now. It's just not. It's not. I guess maybe because I own all these games. Like, most of them I own, so it's like, if I just want to play Metal Gear Solid, the original, I'm just going to pop it in my PS3.
I'm on the fence, personally. I can pre-order. There's pre-orders available. But I haven't decided if I want to, just mostly because of the price. Because it's $120.
Like, $120, and that obviously it's Canadian, but like, plus the fact that some of these games you own either digitally or actually have the physical copies of them.
Yeah.
Already.
I mean, there's a few I don't, like, just for...
If I had a dream game to put on there, and this is just, and you know me, this is just me, would be Harvest Moon Back to Nature.
Yeah.
That one would stick out to me. It's sort of like Harvest Moon 64 would stick out to me if it was on, like, the N64 Classic.
Right.
But those are, like I said, that's a pipe dream. That's not something that I remember being a system seller back in the day.
Exactly.
But that's pretty much it. Like, it's interesting to know that there's like sort of some back and forth here, but really it's not, I guess it's just not what I was expecting, but at the same time, nowadays, what are we expecting from things? Like, I don't want to feel like too much of a negative Nancy about it, because looking at this, if you're someone that's listening to this right now that has never played any PlayStation 1 games, this is a great place to start. And really, it's good for parents and other people like that to buy a system that has like 20 games on it that you can just spend hours upon hours playing. Like, let alone just Final Fantasy VII alone gives you like 20 plus hours worth of gameplay. And that's being lowball generous to it, depending upon how much you get into it.
The other thing to consider too is some of these games, while you can't get digitally on PSN, not only are some of them not available, but some of them are higher priced. Typically, a PlayStation one classic is around $4.99 American, but some of them are more expensive for other reasons. So if you look at it that way, you're getting a bit of a value getting it all like this, especially if like you don't own any of these games. Like if you don't own physical copies or digital copies anywhere else, and you just want to get them all in one bundle, then it is a better value there. But
yeah, it feels like a better value. So just say all these games themselves were just $5.
If they're all
so
$5
times 20 is $100. So it's like that's you're paying $100 American for this. For us, obviously, like you said, it fluctuates, and then obviously some of these are $9.99 rather than $4.99. Mm-hmm. So you are saving sometimes in certain areas, and sometimes you're not. So I feel like this is just a good mixed bag of saying, look, you probably save about $10 maximum if you didn't buy them all separately.
I mean,
if they are all up there, which they aren't.
Personally, I think this should have been the same price as the SNES Classic, about $80. Like, or
about 80,
or 89.
Bring it down to 80 or 100 Canadian,
yeah,
or
like
something like that.
Yeah, would have been the appropriate price for this. But like $100 American, 120 Canadian. That's why I'm kind of like, I don't know if I'm gonna get this because it's Black Friday soon. I got other deals to get. But yeah, that's about all I have to say on it.
Yeah, that's the thing is like the only other things I could say is other games that I wish were on here that aren't. But like it's counterintuitive. It's not like they're going to change it because I said so. This is the definitive list, and if like at least about 40% of the games on here stick out and are interesting to you, I'd say pick it up because there's enough on there. Like I said, I'm actually quite surprised and happy that Super Puzzle Fighter Turbo's on there. Like that's a really rare Capcom game that is very underappreciated.
Exactly, yeah.
So like that's the stick out of this list that I'm like, yeah. I like
lemons.
Lemons, yeah.
So let's switch gears from that and let's quickly talk about the stuff revealed during BlizzCon. So there's some key things I want to talk about. Is first off, we got a new Overwatch hero.
Yeah, we got Ash,
and then we got a new an animation for her and McCree, which I thought was really awesome.
And Bob, don't ever forget Bob.
I haven't played as Ash yet, but I really want to. And now that Oni and a couple other people have picked the game up, I'm now like, let's play some Overwatch.
Yeah, let's play some Overwatch. I'm always game. But yeah, no, it's super cool. They actually also announced that there are 5 heroes in development. Mm-hmm. So for just this year in 2019, it's going to obviously it starts off with Ash, and then we're going to have 5 other heroes. And obviously they showed off one of those other heroes in that short, which is Echo. So that's interesting.
Yeah.
They're expanding the lore, which is great. But where's my story mode? Come on, guys. One of these days, give me an Overwatch story mode.
Probably one of the biggest announcements at BlizzCon that I'm really excited about, Warcraft 3 Reforged. It has been so long since a regular Warcraft game came out. And I get it. World of Warcraft is the tits to those people who like that game. It's great. But I miss Warcraft, and I don't. And
I know.
Keep in mind, I'm not a big RTS
like I said,
guy. I don't play a lot of RTS games. Like
it's not a new Warcraft game.
What?
It's not a new.
I know it's
Warcraft
a remake,
game.
but you know what I mean. When did Warcraft 3 come out? Like the original Warcraft.
Oh gosh, like 2001.
It's been long enough. Like they need to remake it. Personally, I would have said Warcraft 2, but Warcraft 3 I'm okay with getting a remake for. And I mean, it's just nice to have something Warcraft related that's not World of Warcraft related. As much as I know people love World of Warcraft, I miss Warcraft was my RTS game. I'm not a big RTS guy. I never have been.
Yeah.
But Warcraft, I don't know what it was. I played the shit out of that when I was a kid. And seeing Warcraft 3 get remade is great because it's Warcraft has really needed an up, to be honest, because the last one ran on, you could still get it to run on a friggin' 486. barely, but you could. So it's like, yeah, it's about time Warcraft got its day in the sun.
And it all kind of sort of comes full circle because they recently, in the last year, patched Warcraft 3. There's just the original. Mm-hmm. They actually added content and balancing packs and everything, because I have a feeling that they were preparing to do this HD remaster with it.
Yeah, and that's just
it looks great. It looks great. It sounds like they're keeping all the voice acting and everything like that.
Yeah.
So that's going to be neat.
People have speculated after this that we might get a StarCraft remastered eventually. Though I'm not as well versed in StarCraft.
We did technically. They did technically give us a remastered StarCraft.
Oh yeah, wait, no, now I know what you're talking about.
It's like an HD res pack, but they did a bunch of balancing and stuff like that for Brood Wars and all that as well.
I don't know. These are just some rumors I heard. I don't know too much about StarCraft. I know you know more about it than I do.
Yeah, because I played StarCraft more. I wasn't expecting Warcraft
remake.
But that's the thing, is Warcraft 3 was the Warcraft that I remember playing the most. I didn't really play 1 and 2 that much, but I did play StarCraft. And then they announced Warcraft 3, and I was like, well, I love StarCraft. So I hopped on Warcraft 3 from there. So yeah, no, I'm just excited as you are for this. Though I feel, I don't know if it's got me like jumping on my heels and all happy. It's just, thank goodness that they aren't just shoveling Warcraft underneath, like the original RTS roots under the rug.
Yeah.
Though they are bringing back a classic part of World of Warcraft. They're releasing servers that played like the old World of Warcraft.
Oh, just the vanilla servers been finally announced?
Yes. Yeah, that was the other big reveal at BlizzCon, that it was like, you're getting Reforged and you're also getting World of Warcraft Classic, which is some of the vanilla servers and all that for the people. And remember how there was that whole big hubbub a couple of months ago, or maybe even a year ago at this point, of that vanilla server being taken down? Mm-hmm. I have a feeling it was in anticipation to do just that, as they realized that they pissed off millions of players in this private server and said, hey, we can make money off of this. So they're doing that, just to sort of satiate the angry nerds that had their copyright taken away from them, or their private servers because of copyright issues taken away from them.
Yeah, I know. I that was a big deal. A lot of people were upset about that.
Yeah. They showed some new stuff for one of the new patches to Battle of Azeroth, which is current day World of Warcraft. I'm not too big into it. The sad thing is they're finally starting to tell Sylvanas' tale. And if you remember from Frozen Throne, she was turned into a banshee by Arthas. And I was like, man, this is going to be so cool. We're actually going to finally explore her character. And then they turned her pretty much into Arthas 2.0. And it's kind of sad. So a lot of people are hoping that these new patches, as Battle of Azeroth continues, fixes the fact that they've just made her just a Lich King 2.0. But we'll see. We'll see how that fares out. I'm not, like I said, I'm more interested in the lore than I am of ever playing the game.
Oh, one Overwatch thing we forgot to talk about. During the Overwatch Cup at BlizzCon, they revealed that Lucio's are coming out.
Oh, yes, that's right.
You want to get yourself a box of Lucio's?
Yeah, we're going to have some... oh, God, you know how sugar-enriched those things are?
I know, but I want just one box.
And I guess we can beat around the bush some more.
Oh, my God. Yeah, let's not delay any further. Let's talk about Diablo Immortal. And the fucking train wreck. See, okay. Before we get started, there's just one thing I have to ask. They said several times before this BlizzCon that they had several Diablo projects in the works. Why would you show this one?
Well, they did state that Diablo 4 was not going to be shown.
I know, but like, if you have, I'm doing air quotes here, several Diablo projects in production, show one that's not the one that's going to piss off your fan base. And they knew going into it was going to piss people off. They expected backlash. But holy shit, they didn't expect $4 billion of backlash.
Yeah. I mean, like that. I think Blizzard stock has evened out at this point, so it's not. It was a scare hit, but it's not like financially destructive or anything like that now. I mean, it was just the fact that I guess it's this thing is like you just don't read your audience. Like BlizzCon is about Blizzard fanboys and fangirls, right? It's about people that love that. It's like if Square Enix held a convention. The people that go to Square Enix's convention, the same thing with Blizzard, are going to be the fans of those, right? If I played WoW and went to Final Fantasy XIV's Fan Fest, why the fuck am I there, right? Because it's not designed specifically for me in mind. So when you can piss off an entire audience of dedicated fans that have been waiting patiently, whether it doesn't even matter if it's Diablo, it really just, and you get that reaction. And I mean, I feel super sorry for that guy that had to stand up there. It's like they threw him under the bus because they're just like, crap, someone's got to announce it, and he's the only one brave enough to do it.
Yeah,
because they kept so hushed about it.
So one thing that a lot of people have been pointing out is they should have gone the Bethesda route and just even showed just like a splash screen of Diablo 4. Like how, at Bethesda, they had a new Elder Scrolls card game. There's Skyrim Super Special Edition and that mobile, their mobile games, their mobile Elder Scrolls game, but they ended it off by showing just a field and it said Elder Scrolls 6. That's all they had to do to tell people, yes, we know you want it, it's coming. That's all they had to do. And I know that they told people, you're not going to hear anything about Diablo 4, but if they just like shadow drop that at the last second, here's a screenshot, Diablo 4 is in development, like, that's all they had. They could have saved face with that, at least a little bit. But I think the problem is...
and like the reason why this game is not on PCs is because we are making Diablo 4, right? Like that's the thing that made people go, wait. And then obviously, regardless of the troll Q&A or anything like that, but the one guy that says, is this going to be on PC? Is this coming to PC
Lord Fluffy,
eventually?
Yeah.
Where he's like, even if it was a mobile title that started out on your phone, but then there was like a PC release and other things like that, it wouldn't be so hard to swallow. It's like when you stand up there and say, no, we designed this as a mobile game. That's what it is. It's like, and yeah, I don't know, you must have had flashbacks like I did. Command and fucking Conquer. You see how well that went.
See, mostly the problem is how they handled it. I don't blame like Lord Fluffy for asking the question and putting them on the spot. The problem was the immediate response to people booing was, do you guys not have phones? But don't worry, Diablo PC project's in the works. That's what they should have said instead. They could have saved face.
Yeah.
But like, it's just the entire way that they handled the entire reveal of Diablo Immortal was poorly handled, and that's why people were upset. And it's not, it's not that people are upset that it's a mobile game. Nobody gives a fuck if it's a mobile game. The fact that that's the Diablo news. That's the problem.
Yeah, since when did Diablo 3 come out? Gosh, like that was back in 2012, 2013?
Yeah.
No, even earlier than that, I think.
And that's
the thing, is like we've been sitting on Diablo 3 for how long?
Yeah, they haven't even had an expansion for it in a while. That's what people
and then
were
obviously
about,
looking deeper into the game, we find out that it's not Blizzard that's making it.
Yeah.
It's actually I think, is it a Chinese or Korean?
It's a Chinese company that they've partnered with before to get their games to be seen in the Chinese market. Like, I think they helped get Overwatch big in China.
Okay.
And the funny thing is, this company made a Diablo-like mobile game that was like littered with like time delays and like in-app purchases and a bunch of stuff that people are just concerned because they showed footage from the trailer from Diablo Immortal and their other game, and it looks pretty fucking similar. Like, it's almost like they reskinned their other game. That's what people are concerned about, and that means that, that there's going to be a high emphasis on microtransactions, which they've tried to say so many times, no, it's not going to be focused on microtransactions. You'll be able to do everything you can without needing to do that. But at the same time, it's like you picked it just goes back to the main argument we had. You picked the wrong audience for this.
Yeah.
Like, do you think hardcore Diablo fans are going to want to play this when like most of the player base is PC based? They don't give a fuck. Like, maybe the only mobile game that they probably play, if we're going to say no Blizzard game, is maybe Hearthstone on their phone. But
but it's on everything.
Again,
it's like Final
also
Fantasy
on PC.
VII. It works on your television. It works on your smart fridge.
You can play Hearthstone on a smart fridge. That actually is possible. But it's just the way, there's not a problem, as big of a problem with the game, it's just the way they handle it. There's a slight problem with the game that's not fair with the developer who's working on it. But
yeah. But like, if this was like an E3 like show off or a Games Awards show off, it wouldn't be so bad. It really wouldn't, because like like half the gamers are like, who gives a shit? And then the other, like, yeah, it's like I go to the Overwatch panel and they don't show me a new hero. They're just like, you know how cool Tracer is? Tracer's cool, right? Well, what we've decided to do is we've got this on-rail mobile title about Tracer, and then everybody's like, yeah, but what about the game that we play?
Well, I have another perspective. That's something they totally could have done, but they didn't because they, thought about it. At the Overwatch event in BlizzCon, if they announced more Overwatch characters were coming to Hearthstone, and that was it. Or not Hearthstone, Heroes of the Storm, and that was it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's the kind of thing that would be a betrayal in terms of the Overwatch thing. It's like, you told us you had this big announcement, and you're just saying, oh, we're going to put some of these characters in another game. Like,
yeah. Congratulations, Reinhardt.
Exactly. Like,
yeah.
Reinhardt is finally in the game. Perfect tank, but it's just it doesn't look, when I look at the trailer for Diablo Immortal, it doesn't look terrible, but I see where people's concerns are.
Mm-hmm.
And especially with how Blizzard handled this whole thing, it kind of felt like the entire time they were discussing it, because I did watch the Q&As for this. I did watch the press conference and stuff. I watched a whole bunch of extra stuff just because I could. And it seems like their entire attitude toward the whole thing was that looking at some of them, it's like looking at some of them, it looked like they were being made to do this. Like, almost like Activision had a hand in this. Like,
that Blizzard is still in control. They bought Activision. It's not the other way around.
Because, like, the thing about that is people were pointing out that Activision has done this before, where they've bought franchise and they're like, hey, we have a popular game, but we can just, milk it, and we don't even have to use the main studio that made it. We can just get it cheaper by getting another studio to do it.
Yeah.
It's harder to say that with Blizzard, because Blizzard is such like it's so weird, because Blizzard doesn't really have outsourced stuff. Most of their stuff is in-house. It's like they're like Valve in that way. Valve doesn't really outsource their games.
Yeah, well, now Valve doesn't even make games anymore.
Yeah, well, they do, but they don't.
And that's a kettle of worms.
Yeah. But like,
Source Filmmaker does not count as a game made by Valve.
I know, but like, you know what I mean? Like, they didn't give Portal 2 to another company. They did it themselves.
Yeah, they did it themselves.
And usually with Blizzard, that was the way it is. Internal teams took care of it. But this is the first time they're going outsourced. And, maybe it's just people getting, trying to be conspiracy theorists or whatever, but people are saying, like, oh, it must be Activision's influence.
Yeah.
Because they've done this before.
That's a fanboy's reaction to what's going on here. This is just plain marketing. Like, it really, and aside from all like some of the random quote unquote controversial ideas on why everybody is so mad about it being on a phone, it's more along the lines as they looked at the markets and they said more and more people are using their smartphones and their tablets out and about, right? It's the same thing. Like, the reason why the Switch is so nice is because when I'm on the bus or when I'm in my break room, I can just sit there and play, and I feel like I'm getting a console experience on my system, right? So you're like, oh, this is really, really neat. And that's the thing, is a lot more people are moving towards mobile gaming. So the idea of Diablo on a mobile device like that, you know, obviously without standing that Diablo 3 is now on the Switch, it's not a bad market for Diablo to be in, but it should not be a flagship. It's like saying, oh, we've got Fallout 76, but man, our next true Fallout is Fallout Shelter, right? It's like giving us this sense of, well, we've got this mainstream game that we're working on, but you guys should really pay attention to this one instead. Bethesda did it right. They made a mobile game which people could play, and then it had some benefits to being part of Fallout 4, but it was not essential, it was not necessary, and it just goes for this. And that's exactly what Immortal is going to be. It's not going to be necessary to play Diablo 4 or whatever the next iteration of Diablo is, but it should not be their quote unquote flagship. Like you said with Elder Scrolls, right? It's like, yeah, we have a bunch of stuff with Elder Scrolls Online and Fallout and all that type of stuff. However, don't worry, there is an actual full-fledged Elder Scrolls in the works.
And it's not even that Diablo Immortal looks like it's going that far away from Diablo. Like, just for example, Elder Scrolls Blades, the mobile game they showed at E3 this year, it's slimmed down a little bit, but it doesn't look that far away from an actual Elder Scrolls game. Like, it's going to have open worlds and stuff in it. So they're just putting it on a mobile platform. But the big difference here is that wasn't the only game they showed from the Elder Scrolls series. They announced that 6 is in development, which is what people wanted to hear. That's what people were going there for. And I think even though people were told, you know, Diablo 4 is not going to be announced, there was either a thought that it's going to be shadow dropped or they were going to get a new expansion for Diablo 3. I think that's what people were expecting, because apparently the last expansion was a while ago for Diablo 3.
Oh, yeah, no, we didn't get, we got an expansion maybe 2 years after Diablo 3 came out, and then they launched the Necromancer. He was, the only really new thing. And plus, there's this weird, Reaper dungeon thing that you can do, but it's not linked to the main game. It's not linked to the core lore aspect. So the last time was last year they announced the Necromancer, and they released the Necromancer, which is cool. Just the fact that Diablo 3 or just a new Diablo title could have even if it's an existing character that's been in the mythos before, because the Necromancer originally comes from 2, right? So it's not crazy that he's part of it, but to add an entire class, an entire new way to play Diablo 3, because it is obviously character creation, built, right? You create a Necromancer that's able to do X, Y, Z. So if they had released another character, they reintroduced the Amazon or something, or the Assassin from Diablo 2, people would have been ecstatic that there's another character coming, and then, like you said, shadow drop. Oh yeah, by the way, if you like the Assassin, you just can't wait to play her in Diablo 4 or something like that. That's why their release last year was so iconic. A lot of people loved the fact that the Necromancer came out last year.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So
it's just a lack of
we can talk in circles about this for a while, but all in all, we seem to share the same identity. I don't feel that this is some sort of weird conspiracy shit. This is just marketing interfering with what their fan base truly would want. And Blizzard's usually freaking good about that. They understand what their player base wants and needs. You can tell the Warcraft team knew exactly what the Warcraft people wanted. A actual remaster of not World of Warcraft, just Warcraft 3 Reforged. That's what they wanted. What do Overwatch people want? They want more characters. They want more balancing and feeling hype and competitive. What do people in HOTS want? They want more characters. They want Heroes of the Storm. They want more characters. They want more diverse ways to play. And then Diablo comes out and says, hey, we got Diablo 3, but it's on mobile now. And that's it. That's all the Diablo fans get. Because that's really what it is. It's just a different version of Diablo 3 on a mobile. But they're saying it's quote-unquote full-fledged, like, the game. It's their flagship Diablo for the next couple of years. What? That's the scary part. And that's, like I said, it's just the marketing team over-exceeding what Blizzard normally does, which is find out what the players want and then cater to that.
I'll give we're pretty much done talking about Diablo Immortal, I think, at this point. But if you want to get more information on it, the guy who asked one of the questions, Lord Fluffy, he's a Diablo 3 streamer. He has YouTube videos up about this, and he actually talked to the red shirt guy who asked if it was an out-of-season April Fool's joke. He did videos with them, and they went a little more in-depth on their thought process and stuff like that, and other things they saw. They also both played Diablo Immortal and had things to say about it. So, they don't really need a shout-out from us, but I'm going to give them a quick shout-out. If you want to get more information, check their videos out, because that'll give you better insight than probably we could. But either way, that's probably all we need to say about BlizzCon. There are some highs, there's some lows. New Overwatch character.
New Overwatch, yeah. Do something, Bob!
Bob, do something. I love that. I hope Bob gets to be a full playable character. That'd be awesome. We need more robots.
I kind of like the fact that he's just this random ult that you point at somebody and he just goes and wrecks their shit.
So, let's get down to the brass tacks. Let's talk about the Super Smash
More
Brothers.
Smash!
Yeah, the Super Smash Brothers Ultimate Direct that was on the 1st of this month. So, first and foremost, the last 2 playable characters were announced, and I am both happy and sad.
But there's just no more characters.
Well,
yeah. Well, I mean, that's not true. There's going to be shit tons of DLC, probably.
I'm happy that we got Ken. Even though he's an Echo Fighter, I'm happy we got Ken. My boy Ken's in Smash. It had to happen. It had to happen. You can't ever agree with that Ken. That's my thing. I don't really care for Incineroar. I don't know what your thoughts on having Ken and Incineroar in there. I think it's cool that he's in there.
Ken, I'm super happy that Ken is. Even if he was an alternative costume, but it's nice to know that he's actually an Echo Fighter, so he does have unique moves.
Mm-hmm.
Incineroar, just because I haven't really played a lot of Sun and Moon, and like my peak hype for Pokemon was probably like I've never been super jazzed to play another Pokemon since X and Y. I was like really excited to play X and Y. And like really X and Y was great, but it didn't leave a lasting impression that made me want to go back and get Omega Red and stuff like that. And then obviously with Sun and Moon, I did pick up Sun, but I didn't really play it all that much. But for all the kids that was their first or maybe second Pokemon game, out of all of the starters, Incineroar definitely leaves a good fighting game impact.
Yeah, I agree there. I think if they were going to pick one of the new Pokemon, Incineroar makes sense. It just, I think Incineroar.
Yeah, I don't have that attachment like me and you do, right? Like we have more attachment to the Kanto and the Johto region.
Yeah, but like,
whereas nowadays the Aloha Pokemon are important.
Yeah,
like they are the current thing, and we didn't have one. And it seems like every time a Smash comes out, one of those Pokemon do end up in Smash. Whatever current generation. Like we got Greninja back
and then
during
Lucario,
for Wii U.
You know.
Yeah, and then Lucario and all that, right? So it makes logical sense on why Incineroar. So I'm not upset that he's there. Yeah, there's tons of other characters that I was really hoping could squeeze in there, but the way that it's worded, it does sound like even though they may not be here now, there's still a chance that they'll be DLC characters.
I think the biggest upset is that the leak was wrong and there's no Banjo-Kazooie.
Yeah.
I mean, part of me was like, there's no way they worked out the details with Microsoft. There's no way, is what I thought in my head. But, like a lot of people are saying, and this is what I was speculating, is that there's a bigger chance Banjo-Kazooie could happen if Banjo's a DLC character. Because then that way,
and if you think about
they can give the money, they could say on every sale, portion of it goes to Microsoft. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh. Yeah, on the DLC rather than the game itself.
And that's what people are saying. They're like, don't worry, don't everybody get like scared now that he's not going to be in it. There's 5 DLC characters.
Yeah.
So
and another neat factor is the fact that people on Fortnite have been playing against Xbox users on their Switches. So, like, it's not as if these gaming communities are not slowly mixing with one another. Now, I don't think I'm going to get this high expectation or any glimmer of hope that someone like a Banjo would end up in there. But you never know. Or like Crash. Imagine Crash. Just like, he's the one that I was really hoping that they had worked out. Because then you'd have the 3 mascots for all 3 of the old age systems. Right? You get Crash, Sonic, and Mario. And then we can throw in Pac-Man just to sort of throw that whole like video game trifecta at one another. I mean, where there used to be commercials of Crash outside of the Nintendo building yelling with a megaphone at it.
It's funny, like, as much as these are like game companies and their competitors, they still do shit where they're like behind closed doors. Like, was it Ken Kutaragi, I think his name is, from Sony, admitted that he owned 2 Wii U's. Like stuff like that. They play games. Like, some of these guys play games and they know what's up. So they know, like, and so there's always this thought that there's a backdoor deal with Microsoft on Smash, where Nintendo's like, we really want like Reggie's like we really, really would like to have Banjo-Kazooie game. They're like, all right, he's gonna have to be DLC, but you also gotta take Master Chief.
Dude, I'll fucking take Master Chief, and he's like a Samus Echo Fighter.
Yeah, that would be amazing, actually. Because and I don't know Halo that well, but I know you know it fairly well, and that you could probably come up with all the Echo Fighter moves if you had to think about it.
Oh yeah, no, there's tons of things that would mix in. Probably, actually, he'd probably still work as a snake Echo Fighter too.
Yeah. I just want
but like those are just unique things, and that's kind of the thing that I like about Echo Fighters, is the fact that they can share similar moves, but can still look and play vastly differently. I mean, I think they've echoed Marth enough. I don't think Marth needs to be echoed anymore, but it's the same thing. It's like some people look at it and they're like, "Oh, just another Pokemon." That's why Incineroar is sort of like a compared to like, holy crap. But I mean, don't worry. They have a holy crap character that they introduced, which I am super stoked for.
Oh,
I have a new main Zero.
Oh. Can't tell if trolling or serious.
Oh, I'm serious. I'm actually serious. I mean, it's trolly, but I'm serious. Move over, Peach. Here comes Piranha Plant.
It's funny because the general consensus from like the internet was, huh?
What? Okay, I guess.
And then like a few hours later, it was like
a huge backlash. And everybody's like, you know what? My boy.
And then a few hours later, it was like, okay. Like, really, I think I twisted my head. Like,
he's like actually a bonus character, isn't he?
Yeah, I think he's a DLC.
He's not part of the 5. He's not part of the 5 initial DLC characters.
Oh no, yeah, he is a bonus. Oh no, he's a pre-order bonus.
Yeah.
He's a DLC character unless you get the game before January.
Yeah. So every copy of Smash that you buy up until January will come with a code to download it.
Yeah.
Or when he's released, you'll get him.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's what they're doing with it. But otherwise, he will be a DLC character afterwards.
Yeah.
No, literally, when I saw Piranha Plant, I think I turned my head like a confused cat, and I'm like, really?
Yeah, at first I thought it was an assist trophy, and they're just like trolling us.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And I was like, it's like, is that an assist? No, he's got fucking tilt moves and and smash attacks, and then they're like, Piranha Plant has chomped in, or whatever the thingy was.
Yeah.
Or pipes up. Sorry, pipes up.
Pipes up.
But he looks like he's going to be really fun. Such a weird thing. It's like, how could you make a Piranha Plant that usually is a stagnant enemy in the Mario series terrifying? Well, clearly they've decided, you know what? Sakurai's like, hold my beer, I got this. Like, they want Waluigi, they're getting a fucking plant. But, you know, like, that's the thing, is like, this reveal still didn't make me go, wow, what a worst game ever.
No,
it was like,
it's just
right.
general confusion.
Yeah.
One other thing I'm just going to quickly mention is, just speaking of DLC, they announced a new Mii sword fighter outfit. Rex from Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
Yeah.
The next sword fighter one.
Which does make me cry. Though, we could get Mithra and Pyrrha.
Yeah.
Which could be cool, because then they could sort of reintroduce the transformation that Zelda and Sheik used to have when they were one person. Because she switches between sword forms. Sometimes she's Mithra, sometimes she's Pyrrha.
Okay. Well,
so it's interesting. They could do something with that. So as much as Rex won't be a playable character, it's still interesting to see.
Yeah, I'm glad you said something about it being interesting, because I don't think I've been seeing Chronicles 2.
Yeah. I still haven't beat that game. That's still something I need to
do.
do.
I do have the Ultimate Edition on my Amazon wish list. Hint, hint, wink, wink. Somebody no, I'm kidding. I don't make it public for a reason. And just because I'm talking about Mii Fighter stuff, they did announce a few more outfits, like the bringing on an ARMS Mii Fighter outfit, which I kind of thought they put an ARMS character in, to be honest. But
could be DLC.
I guess
could
maybe
be DLC.
because ARMS only has one game, maybe that's why they're not putting a full character in yet. And then, of course, they put out excuse me, they put out new suits from Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, and more Splatoon stuff, and the toy cons. Nintendo Lab. The cardboard armor is pretty sick, though. I gotta say.
Yeah, I was about to say, I'm not really mad that you can wear cardboard as a character. But other than that, like, some of the bigger things is it seems as if there's going to be an actual subspace emissary, an actual story mode to the game that does seem to the way that Sakurai has put it is that this is how it all happened. This is how Smash happened. That's what he's going to tell us, the tale of how Smash happened.
It's all up to Kirby.
Yeah, it's all up to...
Of course it's all up to Kirby. It's Sakurai.
Yeah, you gotta get that Kirby. I'm gonna get that Kirby.
It's all, of course all up to Kirby. It's Sakurai. He has to let his dog, his boy...
Yeah, his boy.
The one.
His little pink sweet boy. Actually, knowing his powers, he's probably the only person that can actually outrun that anyway.
I mean, Kirby is... Some people be like, oh, Kirby, come on. I'd be just like, no, guys, Kirby... Have you seen some of the things Kirby fights?
Not only that, do you know how scary Kirby is? Like, he's actually, like, if you actually applied a lot of himself to the real world, he'd be the most terrifying creature this planet has ever seen.
Well, I mean, how else can he have the gall and the strength to take on some of the fucked up bosses in the games? Like, the Dark Matter series, whew. Just that series in particular shows some dark fucking shit that can be in a happy-go-lucky game.
So, a part of me that's somewhat disappointed, but I completely understand why they did this, is there's no longer trophies in the game. They're quote-unquote spirits, which are pretty much just the stickers from back in Brawl, and I think Wii U had the sticker thing too.
AKA, they're not making character models; they're taking artwork.
Yeah, they're just taking artwork, but like the amount of these things looks ridiculous because it's artwork and it's not like actually polygon shaped creatures. And maybe that there's the conspiracy reason on why they haven't made trophies in this one. It's so people don't hack the system and make them, because a lot of things in, that unofficial Melee thing, what's it called? It's like Smash.
Project M.
Yeah, Project M. They just took the trophy models and applied them to some of the characters' base forms. And they adjusted it and stuff like that so they played relatively similar. But it could be a way of anti-thefting a little bit of some of these characters. Not to say that really highly skilled animators and /r like model riggers and stuff can't make
this won't stop the mod
like
community.
That. It won't stop the mod community. It's just a way of trying to hinder them and make it harder for them just to create the characters that didn't make it in. But you can still have so much more of them. You can still have so many other references to just gaming culture and just like within just the Nintendo sphere. There's going to be some Octopath Traveler ones. Obviously, I bet you almost every single Pokemon is going to be a quote-unquote spirit.
It's a lot of them.
And there's a lot of those. That's like, they have like a pool of 900 at this point to pull from.
Not that high, but close. It's getting there.
Oh, it's not in the 900s? I thought it was 900s now.
It's just over 600.
Oh, okay. Gosh, really? I thought there was more than that.
I'd have to double check the numbers, but I'm pretty sure it's not that high yet. Okay.
Well, regardless, it seems like an interesting thing. It feels like just an increase on what for Wii U and Brawl was doing, where you're able to sort of like augment your fighters and change them up. Obviously, that's not going to be in like regular play. It's going to have a special type of match and stuff. Obviously, it probably will leak over into the Subspace Emissary single player portion. Actually, it'd be kind of cool if it wasn't just single player, that it had either co-op or couch co-op multiplayer, or the grand jewel, which would be to be able to do it online with friends. So those seem to be the really big announcements that came from this.
That and speaking of, trophies and stuff, they announced new assist trophies, which are cool, but I'm also kind of upset about some of them.
Because that means that they're not going to be actual playable characters.
So, first off, one of the cool ones is Yuri from Fatal Frame made into the Black Water as an assist trophy.
Yes! There's still hope we'll get a port.
But
there's still hope.
What sucks is Isaac from Golden Sun is an assist trophy and not a full character. Which I'm like, I get it. You've got like 600 Fire Emblem characters, so putting another sword character in there isn't going to work. But honestly, if I could be real for a second, just take away some Fire Emblem characters. We have enough.
But everyone's here, Zero.
Yeah, including all 8,000 Fire Emblem characters.
No, the Pokemon still outrank the Fire Emblem characters.
Yeah, but at least the Pokemons are all different. The Fire Emblem characters aren't that different.
Well, I mean, like, I would say that Corrin and Robin are much different than Lucina, Chrom, and Marth.
I know, but you know where I'm coming from here.
Like, I know where you're coming from. It's not that I don't share that opinion. It's just sort of like, on the grand scheme of things, Isaac would have been great as a playable character because his series is synonymous for being on the GBA.
And Isaac or someone from Golden Sun deserves to be a playable character in Smash. It's just really sad that it's not.
Yeah,
I'm glad that he's here at all, because people have been asking for a Golden Sun character since Melee. It's just sad that they were like, well, Isaac's not important enough to be a playable character.
Yeah, well, we got Springman from ARMS, so that's where our ARMS guy is. So we may not even get... Actually, we could get that Noodle chick, Because a lot of people really like the noodle spring girl.
Is that?
I can't remember her name right now.
Or the one that's thick, Twin Tail.
Yeah, the super thick one. Nintendo understands our plight. Like, obviously seeing Tiki and the Thwomp, obviously Wily. He's an assist
Dr.
trophy,
Wily with
cool.
his Mega Man 7 final battle form. I'm scared as an assist trophy. If somebody gets him, I'll be like, no, get those orbs away from me.
I mean, and getting Guile too, that's really neat.
Guile is cool.
And then the creme de la creme is the fucking Virtual Fighter Akira, but he is in the original Virtual Fighter 1.
That's another one
Polygon.
where I'm like, man, I wish Akira was a full playable character since we got Ryu and Ken, but you know what?
He's in DOA. He's in DOA 5.
But you know what?
Akira,
you know what?
And some of the Virtual
seeing
Fighter
him in his original form is just a special treat. If it'd be nice if when he beats someone or knocks someone off, he went, yeah! I would love that.
You know, he could. We haven't seen a lot of him in action, so we don't know.
There are a few other things, like the hand from Mario Paint is an assist trophy.
Yeah. It brings out the Fly Swatter, which is really fucking sweet. Yeah, I'm just like, man, that's like this one little thing from Mario Paint that makes sense as an assist trophy.
There are a few other assist trophies, but those were the
yeah.
And
this one is also kind of a big one, is that all of the DLC characters, like the fighters that are introduced, the 5 that they've announced so far, that they will be completely original, built from scratch. They will not be Echo fighters, which I think is super good. Not only that, they will also come with a shit ton of music, and they will have a stage with them as well. So if they are regular standard price for DLC characters without buying the season pass, and they're usually around $7 American, so it's more like $10 for us, that's pretty darn good per character. And then we get the season pass for like $40, $50, and then boom, you know, like you save probably about $5 on the whole set. So I'm glad to see that we're not just going to be like, oh, here's 5 DLC characters and they're just a bunch of Echo fighters. I'm glad that they announced that. I think this is a series that understands its audience base.
Blizzard. The only real other thing to talk about is they announced a whole bunch of like rule sets you can do, such as stuff like some of the stuff's been talked about before, but I like the idea of a mode where after a match you can't pick those characters anymore, and the roster gets smaller and smaller until there's no one left to pick. I think that's a cool idea. I like that there is a like they showed in the Smash Invitational, the pick 5 option, where there's a mode where you pick 5 characters and you just fight until you lose them all, or until someone wins.
Yeah.
I think that's cool. And just a lot of other like little tweaks and stuff that they've done to the gameplay and the modes and stuff, like just like little things that make things easier, like being able to save mode sets. Like one of the most annoying things is if you want to play, competitive, the traditional way, which is, Final Destination maps only, no items, yada yada. You have to set that every time. Or if you want to change the rule set because somebody else played a different way, you could change it. Now you can like save rule sets, which I think is cool. I think that's something they should have implemented a long time ago, to be honest.
See, and this is the crazy thing, because like Smash is able to do this. They're able to get away with just adding like crazily customizable matches. They also showed off that 8-person melee is back,
and it
works
on all stages.
Yeah, all stages and everything. That was another big thing right off the gate. But like the amount of customization, the way that you want to play, which assist trophies you want to show up versus other ones that you don't, like that type of stuff it just gives a fighting game so much more life, because it gives you so many possibilities to just say, hey, I'm down for the New Year's holiday visiting you, Zero. Let's play some Smash. And every single Smash battle can be completely and utterly different on how we actually want to play it.
I mean, personally, right? I just like the ability that I can make a preset for Link bomb match, which is everybody picks Link and you can only press down B. like I'm just happy I have a preset for that. I don't have to go into the menu every time and change what's in there. The thing that pisses me off all the time is when I forget to switch the game from time to stock. I do it all the time. I'm like, wait, this is a stock match, son of a bitch. Or this is a time match, son of a bitch. I meant to put it as a stock match. Because my friends and I, we always played with 5-6 stocks. That was our way of playing. And me personally, I turn on all the asshole items because I think it's more fun that way.
Oh, yeah. Like, I like a good one-on-one every once in a while. Like, I actually like to play the game, like, in its raw form, where it's just a mono-e-mono. But if I'm playing with, like, 2-3 other people, I want to have all types of chaos happening. Man. And I don't take offense to it. Like, though, like I said, I do like to play competitive, too. I think it's really fun to really just see how good someone is with a character. But that's only like one small asset of the game. It's not just look at how much you can customize this thing. It's ridiculous.
Not only that, the strides they taken to make the game more competitive. Like, and just, I mean, a lot of it wasn't revealed this one, but like they revealed in the last one and E3 and stuff. It's like they have done a lot of work to make this game try to appeal to everybody. And usually when you try to appeal to everybody, it means everybody's going to be left upset, but they really like took everything they could think of putting in this game.
Sakurai doesn't sleep, so this poor man looks like he needs a fucking sandwich. He's like a
for the last character. 3 games, he said it was his last Smash game. Like it's I mean, it's become a meme at this point. The man,
don't ask me for anything ever again.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. I think he uses that too.
Oh, I'm sure that he takes some pleasure.
Actually, I think there was a line during the direct where he's like, "Finally, I can sleep. Finally, I can take a rest. I can go on vacation."
Yeah. Well, he deserves it.
Yeah.
Like, it's the same thing. Like, there's so many Japanese game developers that do crunch numbers. Like, there's that whole thing about, oh gosh, Rockstar worked their people off like for the last couple of weeks before Red Dead Redemption 2 came off. Yeah, that's just a Japanese gaming company where they just work them to the bone to make some of the greatest games. Like, if you look at some of the history of Nier Automata, for example, the amount of effort they put into making that game the way it was, not just on the platinum side, but it's just crazy. It's just crazy on how much they tried to cram into that game to make it the way it was, you know? And I respect that. I respect that crazy amount. So I'm looking forward to Smash. It's my December game for sure. There's no doubt in my mind that it's going to be part of my ever-growing Switch library, which I am quite surprised that I'm just like, I thought I'd only bought the Switch for like maybe, 3 games this year. But I look at this pile right beside me and I've got at least 6 just sitting here. And that doesn't count some of the digital things that I've purchased. It's become my most played system in the last year. Other than my computer, I guess, because I play Final Fantasy XIV.
Exactly. And probably doesn't help that all the Black Friday sales are on right now. I just picked up a bunch of games for like under $10 for my Switch. So
I haven't actually looked at the Switch.
If there's one I can recommend, 2 I can recommend, Blaster Master Zero and Mighty Gun Volt Burst are both on sale.
Ooh, Mighty Gun Volt Burst. I've been waiting for that to go on sale.
Mighty Gun Volt Burst, basically, for those of you who don't know, is basically a demake of Mighty Number 9, but made good. And it also has the characters from Azure Striker Gunvolt and Galgun as playable characters. And I think there's other playable characters too, I can't remember, but it's really good. And it's like $5 right now. Also Blaster Master Zero, which is also a really good game, made by the same developer. But anyways, not to fund the Black Friday sales. We have
it's the Nintendo Black Market.
Nintendo Black Market. Yeah. We have one more thing we want to talk about. You actually know everything about this. I have no idea.
Oh, I know. It's just something, it's because it just happened over the weekend. Final Fantasy XIV had it's not annual. It only happens every 2 years. They had a fan festival down in Las Vegas. What they do at these fan festivals is it's pretty much there to be a giant hype train for the next proper expansion to Final Fantasy XIV. So we've already had 2 fan fests since then. So we've had one for Heavensward, which was the first expansion. And then the year before, they released Stormblood. So this was the big reveal about here comes the 3rd expansion, and it's called Shadowbringers. And if you haven't watched the opening teaser trailer to this, even if you don't know what the fuck's going on, this is just Square making fucking gorgeous ass cutscenes rendered with, like, this time an actual voiceover, which is new. They've never had voiceover in these things before. They haven't had people talking to one another and stuff like that, so I guess there's an up
it's
thing.
About fucking time.
Oh yeah, like the game has voice acting in it. It's just this is the first time that they've actually shown it, and it meets the lip flap standards of every region. So if you watch it in German, if you watch it in English, or you watch it in French or in Japanese, everything syncs up just fine. The quality is just good all around. But this is obviously, whenever they introduce an expansion, there's a bunch of new shit that comes to the game. And we're talking new classes, or jobs in this case, new jobs, a bigger, more expansive areas to look around and explore. And the keynote, which was the very first thing, showed off pretty much everything that will be, or just like hints at what would be. And Yoshi P, who is the director, he's very much like Sakurai. He's the guy that likes to just like randomly wear shit that like signals something. So the biggest thing is he gets on stage, and we notice that he's not wearing something that usually results in like a sort of a hint to a job class. Because in the very first Fan Fest, he wore a Batman t-shirt, which signals a Dark Knight, right? The Dark Knight, so that means Dark Knight is going to be the new class. And then back in like 2-3 years ago at the Stormblood Fan Fest, he had a Scarlet Witch shirt on, which a lot of people were like, she uses magic, she's red mage, boom. So we got red mage. This time, he takes off his sweater as a new race pops up. And he's like, so we've got this new race, I'm not sure what it is. And he turns around, and it's got fucking Bugs Bunny on the back of his shirt. And the internet goes fucking crazy because we're finally getting bunny people. The Viera from Final Fantasy Tactics and Final Fantasy XII are going to be a new playable race in the new expansion.
Sweet.
And you can start the game as a Viera if you want. There will be both male and female, and we haven't seen what they look like yet, but it's highly implied that we're probably going to see them probably at the next Fan Fest.
Fuck, I'm going to have to get the new expansion and get a new character. So I'm going to play as Viera.
During the big opening trailer, we also saw a character. His name is Thancred. He has something that looks mysteriously like a gunblade, which is, we don't have a quote-unquote gunblade class. So a lot of people are speculating that the gunblade is going to be the new tank class that's introduced. So a lot of people are dubbing it soldier right now until we get like a proper name, whatever they've decided to use.
CD.
Yeah, or a seed agent or whatever. I hope not. That sounds stupid. I think soldier's fine if that's what they went with. But from there, they did announce some smaller things, like there's going to be a new Game Plus option, which that pretty much states that they're just allowing us to go back to previous fights and previous encounters on the same character. So just say you were rushing to get to 60 or get to 70 so you could play the new expansion when Stormblood came out, right? You weren't paying as much attention to the story because you wanted to start playing with your friends. now we are going to be able to go back on that character and experience the main scenario and the fights the same way, on top of it being harder if you so choose. So if you wanted to face off against, there's this one part of the game where you face off against Warriors of Darkness.
Mm-hmm.
So you wanted to fight them, but you wanted to fight them at level 70. They'll make the encounter level and scale up to your level, and you can fight them and have a lot more fun doing that. And then pretty much the biggest thing that came out at FanFest is they announced that Blue Mage is going to be playable. That we're going to have a playable class called Blue Mage. Though, it's not part of the main meta of the game. And what I mean by that is, like, all the classes right now that we have currently in Stormblood, we can take into raid content, dungeons, and other things like that. So they're part of the meta gameplay, which is you could go raiding on this class. The difference between the Blue Mage and all the others is they're considering this a quote-unquote limited class. So it can't go into dungeons, it can't go into raid mechanics and other things like that. It is a single-player experience. The reason why they chose to do this is due to the fact that it would, if they didn't do it in this fashion, it wouldn't feel like a true Blue Mage experience, because you know what a Blue Mage is, right?
Yeah, they basically can learn beast spells.
Yeah. So if you made it quote-unquote raid ready, right? If you made it part of the meta, then there would only be certain monster abilities that you could learn. It'd all be scripted, and it wouldn't really feel like you're actually going out and learning moves from monsters. You're just following the storyline, and they just say that these are the most important monster moves. So they decided to make this limited type of class where you can go out and fight the monsters and learn the skills that way. And then you can apply all those skills that you've learned in this carnival, this, like, I can't remember what the name that they called it. Yeah, I can't remember the name of it right now, but it's sort of this, like, unnatural carnival, which puts you into one player instance combat where you have to fight off against various types of enemies, and you have to use your Blue Mage abilities to conquer these things. There's going to be, after you hit level 50, I think they said there's going to be like 100 challenges right off the gate, where probably some are going to be super easy, and then others will be harder as you get to that higher echelon. And in concept, the Blue Mage sounds so cool. Like, you actually go out and you have to go out into the world and level out in the open world. This isn't like going into a dungeon or doing some daily things for experience. This is an actual go out into the wilderness and get fucking breathed on by Marlboros to learn abilities. They do state that you don't have to be hit by the move, so you don't get completely wrecked by enemies out in the fields because you had to learn Bad Breath by that thing casting all types of maladies on you. But it seems really interesting. They're going to have 49 skills out the gate, and they're planning to add more as they patch the game. And did I mention this doesn't come out with the patch, it doesn't come out with the expansion, it comes out with the next patch.
Yeah, I was just looking at that. This is because I saw the trailer for Blue Mage, and I'm like, oh, that's a Stormblood. I guess I don't need the expansion for it. I can just wait to the next patch and get it. Yeah.
And that's going to be in January. The next patch will be out in January. And yeah, you're just going to be able to play a Blue Mage up to level 50.
I need to actually play the game now.
Oh yeah, and actually now's the time to play it, because it has a free 2-week login period right now. Up until the 26th.
See, I would, but Pokemon.
But that's the thing, is like, if this is the time you want to sort of like dip your toe back into it, now's a good time because of FanFest and everything like that. Now, a lot of people, like, I've sat on it for a couple days because I was kind of mad because, like, I like Blue Mage. Not that I would particularly main it as a class, but imagine you were a diehard Red Mage fan, Zero. right? You love red mages.
Red mage is one of my favorite classes in Final Fantasy.
Yeah, it's one of your favorite classes. But imagine then that favorite class gets taken and is no longer considered meta or part of the main game. You can't go through the main scenario as a red mage. You can only do it when you go out into the fields and kill hundreds of monsters. And their reasoning is, well, because red mages use both white magic and black magic, if we added them to the meta, then the black mage and the white mage will always be better than it, because it uses both sides of the coin, or whatever. Something silly like that. And a lot of people that were blue mage, that were excited to play as blue mage in the meta content, to go into raids and other things like that, unfortunately, they're not going to be allowed to do so. So it honors the class, but it's not part of the main game's meta.
See,
and it never will be. It feels more gimmicky rather than it being an actual class.
See, and while raiding is still a new concept to me, because I really only got my taste of raiding with Monster Hunter World, because their version of a raid is what do you call them?
The behemoth, or just any
Not
of
the behemoth,
the tempered monsters.
Torah's thing is basically like a raid, because you're not going to beat it the first time you go. You're going to have to beat it several times, and other people have to be doing the quest at the same time to get benefits. So if they had done something, say like, oh, but you can't use dual swords, or you can't use great swords, that'd be the same thing. It almost feels like, but I guess maybe you could kind of see the blue mage as being a broken class like that, because if it can just learn moves, you could have a plethora of really broken and moves. It could be the ultimate DPS, basically.
Yeah,
and that's
that was one thing that they stated as well, is just say you had a raid. It was raid ready. It could go in and face off against the Omega weapon, right? And then someone in the party chat says, oh, do you have bad breath? Because bad breath's really good against Omega. And the person's like, sorry, no, I haven't gone out and learned it yet. They would get booted from the party because they don't have the quote unquote meta move for that instance, right?
Yeah.
So I can see, as I've sat on it and I've thought about it, I'm like, no, this is the best way to make the blue mage the way that people envision the class to be.
That's just really shitty. It's like the whole thing about, what was it, white mages in the Rathalos quest?
Yeah.
That's just really shitty. It's why do people gotta act like assholes like that?
It's just the name of the game. Every game has assholes, but I will always state that the Final Fantasy XIV community as a whole is really, really good.
Yeah.
I've never experienced crazy levels like that, but that's the closest thing.
But I mean,
it
just sounds like the actions of a few is now affecting everyone. People can't use blue mage and raid now. And the thing with that is I'm seeing it from both sides. I see why they would do that, but I'm also you can make a blue mage probably broken. If there's not, I don't know what the limits are on what you can learn as a blue mage in this game, but just based on
they said 49 skills.
Well, not
so that's a skill.
Well, not
level,
just the skills,
what
ones you can learn. Because I know, in some Final Fantasy games you can learn any monster skill, and some of them are special skills you have to learn.
Yeah, I'm assuming that they're going to ride the plethora of abilities that pretty much any of the monster, the main key monsters, bosses or notorious monsters, are able to do. They showed off that the blue mage can use aqua breath and bad breath, and then obviously it can use mighty guard, which they joked about because mighty guard is the tank's second limit break. So they're like, shit, we can't give blue mage mighty guard, so we'll just change the tank's LB to stronghold instead. So they've changed the name to give blue mage mighty guard. So it looks like they're going through the enemy skill list. Now, I was joking with my other Final Fantasy XIV aficionados, please, for the love of God, I better get fucking Matra Magic, which is usually level 5 missile, and it's gotta come out of my character's chest. They have to flex, and then missiles have to come out of my chest, because that is a thing that has been part of Final Fantasy Blue Magedom for a really long time. Kamari did it, Kistas did it, Kina did it. I am really hoping that Matra Magic or Magic Missile, they shoot missiles out of their boobs. That's what I want. I probably won't get it, but it's there.
You know what my request is? My request is that can't think of it right now. What was that armor again that they haven't taken out yet that I really like?
The kill gear or whatever armor. It's they had
Garo, right?
Yeah, the Garo.
Yeah, the Garo armor. My request is that the emote actually lets you henshin as Garo, but they won't put that.
Yeah. I also do want to point out that just the reason why Blue Mage is going to be awesome regardless is the fact that its weapon is a cane.
Mm-hmm.
So whacking people with a cane.
No. It's a pimp cane.
It's a pimp cane. All right. It's a pimp cane. It's going to be pretty sweet. And also, this class is available for everyone. Even if you don't own Stormblood, it is a 2.0 update. So what that means is as long as you have a Realm Reborn, which is the very first, you don't need to have 1.0. No one plays 1.0. You can't play 1.0 technically anymore. But if you have it, you get this class for free. This is not like you pay to get this class. It is just a free edition that everybody gets to play.
That's pretty sweet, actually.
So that's why I'm like, you know what? It's not as bad as I originally felt like it felt like, because it really felt like, oh, is this how they're going to incorporate some of my favorite things? Like, I still want a Geomancer tank. I still want a hammer tank. That's what I want, because most Geomancers are either cure-based or they are like Goliath, like Berserker types, where they use nature and they smash people with it.
And Billy wants calculator, because numbers.
Yeah. Because numbers, though they have dropped in the recent 24-man raid content, you can actually get the calculator armor. Ooh. So I don't think the calculator is going to be a 14th class just yet. But where, like, I'm waiting for Beastmaster. That's another one that I'm really interested to see. Like, obviously Dancer, but I have a feeling Dancer and either Soldier or Gunblade Expert or whatever they're going to call that class, those are going to be the main classes of Shadowbringer.
Do you think that with if Viera is the race that gets revealed, that they're going to reveal another, like, a Viera class, like, from Final Fantasy Tactics? Because that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, like, that's what I'm saying is they would probably get the Dancer role.
Dancer, because we already have Red Mage, because Viera's can become Red Mages, but, like, there's a few other things they can do, too. Like, Fencer would kind of be bland if they added Fencer, because it's just basically Red Mage without magic. But
no, I think they're going to have 2 new full-fledged jobs, not including, obviously, Blue Mage. But this is that's probably going to be a tank and a healer, because the last expansion we had 2 DPS classes, and the meta desperately needs more healers and tanks added to it. So most likely we're going to get Dancer as a healer, which is unique and interesting in and of itself. And then since they showed off the Gunblade, most likely we're going to have some sort of Gunblade Soldier S class that will be a tank. Because the guy that actually wields the Gunblade in the teaser trailer, he originally used to be a gladiator, which turns into paladin. But they didn't retcon it. They just had him pick up another knife and called him a thief for a little while. So he was a tank at one point. So there's a lot of speculation that that's mostly what it's going to be, and we'll learn by I think they have one in January or February. The next Fan Fest is either in December or January. So that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it that came out. But there is one thing I do want to ask you, because this is just a story that happened during a closed Q&A session when they were talking about not just what the next expansion, what 5.0, but the current game and its standing and how how Yoshi P is looking towards trying to either make the game more accessible and everything like that. So this closed door press conference was an hour. They had an hour to ask questions behind closed doors. There was no non-disclosure agreements or anything. It was just, just a private place so the press could actually ask questions. And a person where I'm not going to name what organization they were from, decided that this was the opportunity to ask the question about open paid prostitution in Final Fantasy XIV.
What?
Okay, so this guy's question entailed the fact that what is your feeling on the fact that people are ERPing, which is exotic role-playing or erotic gameplay role-playing, in your game for paid services like prostitution. So you would pay someone either real money or gil to ERP with you. This was a question that was asked in an hour thing. And not only did this guy just ask this question, sit down, and then Yoshi P has to go through the PR, well, this is against the terms of service. If it goes against the terms of service, if people report it, we'll look into it and fix the problem. Very, PR answer, because what the fuck are you supposed to ask when it comes to that? And then the guy proceeds to say, oh no, but it's consensual. So these people are doing it because they want to do it, not because they're forced to do it. The game is forcing them to do it. So they had to spend, out of the hour that they had, 10 minutes on this one guy's question because he would not give up the microphone or let it go. Do you think that that's a very important question to ask your video game base? An MMO? Not saying that it doesn't happen. It's not denying the fact that there are ERPers in the Final Fantasy community. It's just, it comes with the territory. You create a world and people are going to try and find ways to fuck in it. It's just a natural thing that human beings do.
Let me say this. Final Fantasy XIV is not the place for that. Gaia Online is the place for that.
And I'm not saying that it doesn't happen, but if it's not hurting anyone, why is it such an important question to ask the producer director in a closed interview setting?
My question is, why was that the question you wanted to ask? Why? Yeah. Why don't you just ask why the characters can't smoke fucking weed because it's legal in Canada? Why can't I RP being a drug? It's just such a stupid thing to ask. I wish, I was hoping someone would come up there and be like, dude, your question is so dumb. Please leave.
Yeah. That's the thing is and one of the guys that I follow that was invited to this closed door press conference, you see him, then he showed his notes, and his notes are taking on the idea of cross world transfers, all that type of stuff, and it's just nicely laid out. And then in big capital letters, when this guy's question gets asked, he just writes "yikes" with 5 exclamation points. It's just why is this a thing? This is where we is this a microcosm of our journalistic tendencies now? That this guy came in here specifically with an agenda to expose Final Fantasy XIV as some sort of weird brothel for these electronic role players out there in the universe. That this is so rampant in our community, which I had never heard of until then. I knew we had maid cafes and other things when people role play, but I didn't know there was this seedy underbelly of people typing out sexual acts to one another for money.
I just have to think, that person who asked that question, why were they there? Who let them in?
For that sole reason. That's why he was there, to make an expose to cause outrage culture. That's the reason why he went. from what it sounds like, is he wanted to get on record Yoshi P not talking or saying that they refuse to comment on this rampant infestation.
This is why the internet was a mistake, because fucking people like this, and I almost want to take this person's side. I'm like, are you really asking this question right now? Do you even understand how stupid you sound? Like, this is not important. Get out.
Get out.
Like, why are you wasting everyone's time with this?
Yeah, 10 minutes of 60 minutes.
What a fucking waste of time that is.
20% of that time just gone.
Like,
on this one guy that would not let it go.
It's just like if you're so fucking desperate to get your activist message out there, there's plenty of online forums where people like-minded will fucking retweet you or whatever. This is not something that you need to ask the producer of the fucking game about. This is not important to him. This is not important to the player base. It's not important to anyone but you. And it's just stupid. Like, why? Mm-hmm. Why waste that? That's time that could be used to find out actual information. Or, maybe ask a question that gives the developer something they never considered before that they might put in the game. But no. Brothels. Prostitution.
They're rampant.
That's your whole concern. Yes, it's like, yes, welcome to the internet. It's 2018. Have you played an MMO in the last 30 years? Oh, you haven't? Well, here, let me give you FlyFF, Guy Online, World of Warcraft, any of them. They all have it. This is not a rampant problem in Final Fantasy XIV. This is a rampant problem on the internet.
They were like and they've been relatively self-conscious about this stuff because they know that people, especially when you introduce cat girls and other things like that, that yes, there is a sense of fetishism. So they were very reluctant to give us squatting for the longest time, because you could see NPCs go and do like a squat emote, right? Where they're just, doing squats. But people, you could tell that they didn't particularly want to give it to player characters because they were worried about the backlash of people going and teabagging dead people or recreating sexual encounters with one another with squats and shit like that. But eventually they threw caution to the wind. They gave us squatting, and it hasn't changed very much in the gaming sphere. It didn't cause the game to break and become some sort of pedophile's dream or something, come on. It's petty, it's ridiculous. And really, I think that this should be one of our topics on greater detail, not this particular incident, but just in gaming journalism nowadays, on how this outrage culture has pushed this new bounce that I'm like, okay, I was always miffed about this type of behavior coming from all things, whether it was Battlefield 1 or whatever, but now it's invading one of my favorite MMOs, one of my favorite pastimes when I do get time to actually sit down and game, and it's invading my space, and it's ridiculous and disgusting.
I'm going to have to veto you on that one, because that would go against one of my rules for the podcast, so sorry, okay. That's not going to be a topic.
I didn't know
that. That's too close to being political for it to be something for my podcast, and I want to keep the politics out of this podcast.
Oh no, that's fine. I didn't know that rule.
But
sorry.
I do. No, that's totally fine. This is probably as far as I'm ever going to go with this, but I just want to end that with saying the person who did that, you're a piece of shit and you wasted everybody's time. If that was your goal, congratulations, you're an asshole and nobody likes you.
Yeah.
I
just wanted your opinion on it because I'm like, I can't be the only person that feels this way.
It's just this, and I don't want to get too far into it, but this is the culture we live in now, where people find something where years ago people find something they're disgusted about, but they didn't say anything because they knew people would be like, that's stupid. Now everybody has a thing, so everything needs a time of day, and it's just if you're really deciding to bring this up now, with Final Fantasy 14, you better go talk to Blizzard. You better go talk to the EverQuest devs. You better go talk to every other MMORPG on the planet, because guess what? It's there too.
It's in there too.
I mean, when Diablo 3 introduced the whole license, or not license board, sorry, that's introduced the whole auction board. People were doing it there too. So, with real money. So, if anything, this is an old, ancient, like the dust is it's gonna turn into dust kind of topic that really you picked the wrong place to talk about. That's what Tumblr's for. Anyways, on that note, we got to end this podcast.
Oh yeah, no, it's just I think we covered, like I said, we covered pretty much everything.
Yeah, we've covered pretty much everything I wanted to talk about. Now, let's get on to talking about what we're working on. So I'm going to let you go first.
All right, so I am currently working on another review that I'm hoping to get out by the end of the month. If you guys haven't seen it, I did finish off a Halloween review since last I spoke on this podcast. So I did a video on Sims 4 Vampires.
Ooh,
I had a lot of fun doing that. I got dressed up, and I had a little cameo by this wonderful, wonderful gentleman across the internet from me right now.
I don't know who that is.
He was in that. Forcing me to do something Halloween-y.
That you totally didn't script.
Yeah. Nah, it wasn't scripted at all. Whatever. You don't know that. They don't know that. Now the magic's gone, Zero. The magic's gone.
There wasn't magic to begin.
The powers of the internet. Like I said, I was 90% sure you couldn't shoot me through the internet. But I ain't going to take that 10% chance.
The magic of video editing.
But regardless, I was super happy to get that out. Mm-hmm. My ongoing battle with a strike on my account will expire by the end of the year, so Merry Christmas to me.
Yeah, that video might actually be able to become public.
Yeah, that I can finally make. I was just probably just gonna re-upload it at this point,
as long as they don't do the same thing again.
It's deleted. They're not gonna reinstate it. It's deleted off of my account. But the strike's still there.
I just hope they don't do the same thing again when you go to re-upload it.
Yeah, no, I have a contact over at Rooster Teeth, so we're gonna make sure that doesn't happen.
Good on Rooster Teeth.
They're gonna give me a license thing to stick.
Oh, really?
In the no,
good on Rooster
that
Teeth
I can stick. You know when you can file a copyright claim, you can actually stick, if you actually have legal documentation or a written piece of information that you're allowed to copy and paste into that thing, you can do that, and then it will immediately lift it. Oh. If Rooster Teeth themselves bot automatically claims it.
Okay, so they actually they wrote a thing out for you and said, "Hey, when you go to re-upload it, just put this in your upload."
Yeah,
that was really nice of them.
So they went through the steps with me. So just in case it happens again, I don't need to worry about that.
Looks like I better start watching Ruby then. I think I owe them a big thank you for that one.
Rooster Teeth, as much as they've had ups and downs and all arounds throughout their internet history, they have been some of the nicest people that I've ever dealt with outside of any sort of media thing. So
good for them. I will
always tip my hat. Yeah, taking the steps and making sure that this random dude that has almost no subscribers, right, is still being properly accommodated so they can help promote not only me, but their product as well, because they see it that way.
The fact that they stood up
reviewing this, it helps us.
The fact that they stood up and defended the product, even from people who, aren't probably going to bring them a lot of extra numbers or extra buys for the game, that goes to show you how much they believe in the product and how much they believe, they appreciate content creation. Because I'm pretty sure Rooster Teeth was created on content creation, like Red versus Blue.
Oh, yeah. It's all they're one of the pioneers of internet entertainment.
Yeah. So
and they stuck around all this long for a reason.
I just hope as YouTube goes to air quotes improve things, they see things like these happening and take steps towards fixing those things instead of changing what the main page or the studio editor looks like. Things that don't need updates.
What is coming out at the end of this month? I don't mean to interrupt you there. I just feel like we need to sort of wrap this up a little bit. What is coming out is I will be releasing my Alwa's Awakening review, which is an indie game that came out last year in a sort of a NES style, so like a not a 16-bit, but an 8-bit sort of style game.
Okay.
Which, it's a really unique game. It is published by EA, so don't worry, I will make some comments about that. EA gets an F plus instead of an F. Yay!
You should get Blondie to do one of his Rorschach cameos. Because every time EA's announced, he just bursts in.
How's it going? Yeah, but regardless of that, it's a really cute game. I really, really like it. I think I want to shed some light on it because I don't feel like a lot of people played it. So I'm pretty stoked to get that done. It should, like I said, should be out by the end of the month. I'm trying to get into the pace of at least making a video a month and see if I can keep that consistent.
I mean, that's my goal personally, but it goes up and down. Once summer hits, that I kind of like lose my balance on getting that stuff done, but I try.
I mean, hell, you've been busy, good sir.
Yeah.
So that's all from me right now.
So, of course, I released 3 Halloween reviews this year. So those are up. It's been almost a month since the last review. I don't have any big plans for another review. I have one that I have ready for the end of the year. Well, it's not ready, but I'm still working on it. But I do want to do some kind of video. It's not going to be a review. I thought of doing a quick hunts on it, but I decided it wasn't really the format for it. I'm going to do some kind of video before the end of the year on my channel, my review channel for Pokemon Let's Go, because I feel like there's stuff that needs to be said about it, and there's a lot of people who have dismissed it for one reason or another, and I feel they're being kind of unfair to it. And also, there's a lot of people who are like, "Oh, it's just a sequel to Pokemon Go." No, it's not.
Yeah, so it's going to be one of those like in between type videos where it's not a full Maverick hunt because it's not technically.
It's probably
a Maverick
just going to be like unedited, slightly edited thoughts over like gameplay footage, because I'm recording my full first gameplay of it, or playthrough of it. Speaking of which, I'm streaming it. I did 2.5 hours the other night. But on top of that, I am also streaming Courager, so I'm going to be going back and forth, so I don't lose interest in one or the other.
Well, you have an offline file as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not like he's waiting on playing it. It's just sort of like an extra little thing. Actually, I should speak about like one other thing, is I recorded something before my Sims 4 Vampire review came out that I haven't gone back and edited, but I have all the footage, and I did this hot takes. It's like a new form that I wanted to try, where I just sort of do what we do on this podcast, where I just set the mic up and just rant at it about something that I either am enjoying or playing. And it was on the Marvel Spider-Man DLC, The Heist, which starred Black Cat. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I need to get back and finish editing that, because I was sort of working on that, but then I got your footage and I was like, crap, I need to push out the vampire review and everything. So I sort of put it on the sidelines, and I think I may release that before I release my next review. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut.
Oh, no, that's fine. Let's see. That's basically review related stuff. There is also a plug and play I'm working on. I've been working on it for a long time, and I'm hoping to get it done by the end of the year. Though, since Pokemon came out, I've worked less and less on it. Every time I've wanted to work on it, some game has come out or something's happened. That's kept me away from it, so that's why this one plug and play I've been talking about for the last year hasn't come out. But I'm hoping in December it'll come out. As of right now, as of recording this video, all of my EGLX videos are edited and rendered. I just need to upload them. So finally have one of my 2018 con videos done. So keep an eye out for that. That's going on the vlog channel, but I'll post it on Patreon. River City Gamers and stuff, so you guys will have easy access to it. Because a few people have asked me, when are you going to get those done? It's like, when I have a chance. So that's going to be coming out pretty soon because it's all done. So obviously, there's probably going to be at least 1 or 2 more podcasts for the end of the year. And then we'll move on to 2019 and doing more there. And 16-Bit Winter is on now. So if anybody would like to join, I will leave a link in the description where you can go join that. I'm playing Mario & Luigi Superstar Saga for 16-Bit Winter this year. I'm streaming Chrono Trigger, like I mentioned earlier. And also I have some Super Mario World that's been going up. We're at about 15 parts now, where I played it with Tara. So that's going up as well.
That predates 16-Bit Winter.
I know, but right? I'm including it in the playlist, so it's whatever. It's close enough. And that's really it. I don't really have anything else that I'm currently working on other than those videos. Honestly, I've had to scale back a little bit because of personal stuff. I've been a lot busier than usual. I have a lot less time to work on videos. And a lot of the times when I do have free time, I just want to play Pokemon and not do video stuff. So I posted 3 reviews in October. I'm giving myself a little bit of a break. But stuff is coming. It's just coming slower because of this personal thing that's going on. So, anyways, that's it for updates from the both of us. Just a reminder that you can find us on social media. I'm Zeromaster LP or Zeromaster everywhere, pretty much. And you're basically Canadian Jutsu on everything. And if you would like to support podcast, you can do so by backing me on Patreon. So patreon.com/Zeromaster. People who back me on Patreon not only get perks for the podcast, you also get perks of getting early episodes on any of my major projects, reviews, podcasts, abridged stuff like that, major edited videos. The con video will be exclusive first to Patreon backers. I'm also going to start doing extras for it. I've been talking about doing more behind the scenes stuff. I've been doing updates, but I've also got outtakes and bloopers and stuff planned to go up, so keep an eye for those. And I'm going to start doing more stuff with Patreon now that's become a thing, and that I have people who do back me on Patreon, so that will be something to look out for. So if you want to support the show, you can do that. You can also support the show by using the Brave link. I'm not going to go too far into it because I've talked about the Brave link millions of times, but I've gotten some kickback from that. And let's just say some of that money is going to be used for Christmas shopping this year. So nice. Thank you everybody who downloaded the Brave browser and made my videos preferred. Appreciate it. And that's about it. I don't think there's anything else that needs to be promoted. Is there anything else you need to promote?
No, actually. There's nothing that sticks out on my mind right now.
All right.
I'm not doing anything Christmas related in December. I think I'm just gonna maybe put on a Santa hat for the video. Maybe.
That's how you know it's a Christmas episode.
Yeah, because I put the Christmas hat on. I'll make that joke or something. I'll be like, "Look, it's Christmas. I put a Christmas hat on."
As long as it's not late Christmas.
Yeah.
But anyways, I think that's good for this podcast, guys. Once again, I am Zeromaster, and with me I have
Canadian Jutsu.
Thanks for listening to another podcast, and we'll see you soon.
Stay frosty, guys.
Especially in winter.
Frosty!